Searching for the break of a day to follow away to you. 'Cause at the end of the day, I ain't looking for no reason to change. 'Cause everything is good for you. Baby, I can see we're gonna shout it out to the sky. Tell our secrets to the night, so we can see the end inside. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. When I look into your eyes, I can see no better light, better light than love. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. Baby, I can see we're gonna shout it out to the sky. Tell our secrets to the night, so we can see the end inside. We're gonna shout it out to the sky. When I look into your eyes, I can see no better light, better light than love. We're gonna shout it out to the sky.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another RDR Prod production, and of course, it is around for the final stream of the split. It's myself, Sir Pegasus, joined by Rhino, and this is the big one, the final open, the second open, of course, with our new team. So, surely the nerves have settled down. Well, that was not the case during the Swiss.
No, it certainly wasn't. But before that, on the Saturday, my apologies, it was absolutely not a problem. Through 9-0 in double elim with an interesting result at the end there, because T2G Esport, not a bad team in the slightest. They actually find themselves here in top 16 as well. So Rounds taking down T2G in that final game was a very impressive performance from our Finnish organization, and Renshiro, Onizuma, and Marzi did a good job to get themselves through Saturday unscathed. However, as you rightly say, Pegasus, Sunday, well, there was a few more problems.
What happened to the 9-0 boys? Not quite sure what happened here, but we started off our round one with a sweep against Byzantium Magicians. Me and Quanzac, we were laughing, we were having a great time. We felt like there was no way this could end. Then round two, Amapiano. Okay, that's tough. I mean, we don't mind losing that one. We kept that fight going as well, Rhino. There was a chance we felt that we could have stolen that one away. So there should be no worries in round three playing Project 1. There were many worries in round three playing Project 1. Game 4 loss, followed by 2 successive victories versus the 3 Racketeers, which was somewhat of a struggle, and randoms in round 5 eventually did get us, of course, into today's spot with a lot of double commits, a lot of high pressing third man and own goals that left our jaws completely dropped. But most importantly, when it mattered most, we scored more goals than the other team and got ourselves into top 16. It definitely wasn't the most convincing, but as we said on Twitter, the phrase that comes to mind is not even close. We look ahead now.
Yeah, we do. Through to today, and of course these aren't filled in because they haven't happened yet, Pegasus. We are looking at the GSL stage right now. Group B is where we find ourselves, and you're gonna look down this list as we did, and I wouldn't say panic, but there are certainly a lot of names that you would recognize as we go top to bottom. Synthesis, Unity, Strive Esports, SSLs, Crows, Rounds, Looking for Org, and Deathcloud. This is probably, without the 2 top teams in the region, the most stacked GSL bracket we could have possibly had.
Exactly, and I feel like not many people are going to agree with you when you say that, Rhino, but I'm definitely thinking that's the case, because so what? You've got your close to guaranteed loss against 5 Fears and Pioneers, but then you go to lowers and you should have a lot more confidence of a time moving forward to get yourself qualified at least through lowers, whereas here you are guaranteed that fight in the lower bracket. Say SSL's drop, Strive drop, that's going to be tough. Unity proving to be no slouch roster, even if they fall against Synthesis. LF Org versus Deathcloud, that's guaranteed a really tough lower semi-finals, no matter what the result of that matchup is going to be. So perhaps qualifying through uppers is easier, Rhino, but if you're a team like us that is probably looking to go through that lowest position, that's going to be tough. I believe Pyro J put it right. He just said, Rounds, I've seen your bracket, GG's. And then when I tried to approach him about that opinion on the official Pyro J live stream, he refused to double down and be the villain and said we should focus on Bromeo instead. But that doesn't mean he is outside of my scopes. I'm calling him out right now.
Well, they're going to be calling everyone out in the region if Rounds get through this bracket. Anyone can get it. Romeo, Pyro, Greybeard, anybody. If we are able to make it through into top 8 tomorrow. And speaking of going through into top 8 tomorrow, let me show you, Pegasus, exactly where I think the brackets are lying. And this is my prediction here. I do think this first series of the day is going to be a tough one. I think we are going to just not quite have enough for Crows. I think they're going to go through. But I think you'll find that in my entire predictions, Pegasus, I haven't predicted a single sweep. I think every single game here is up for grabs from either side. And for that reason, I've been able to predict rounds to go through as we just about beat Death Cloud in the lower bracket, and then we go against Strive for the final game of the day. I've predicted a long day. I've predicted 15 games out of 15, but I think the boys can pull it through. I think they can do enough.
Well, we're hired by the day, so might as well allow the organization to get as much out of us as possible by forcing it that full distance. That last round looks tough. I mean, a Game 5 versus Strive Esports against, of course, former teammate Willu as well, if we got to that spot. That would be really tough. But the one stark thing, I was also going to point out your lack of sweeps, which you mentioned pretty quickly here. But that's what? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 Game 5s, and that's the entirety of the lower bracket. You're only giving the top half of the uppers all the Game 4s. You really think we're going to get close to the maximum amount of games? This would surely be the highest amount of games that has ever happened in a GSL.
Gotta be close. But I genuinely see all of these games being as close as that. The ceiling and the floor of this GSL group are so close together that I genuinely believe that this is going to go right the way down to the wire. I think any team can beat any other team. And for that reason, I really do think we're going to have a lot of games in the bracket today. It's going to be a tough one. I think Synthesis is the only team who I look at and go, you guys are kind of above everyone else, I guess. But outside of that, it's anyone's game. It's anybody and everybody for the taking.
Okay, I want to show you my predictions now, because I'm looking at yours and I'm thinking there's not much here that I can really argue with, and we'll see what I thought on the day. Already, there are more sweeps on my screen, and I am going to completely admit to you, I added just an extra sweep because I only had 2, and I was like, there's no way, this is SSA, you know, stuff happens, there's surely going to be another sweep outside there. I agreed with you in the upper portions of the upper Synthesis Unity 3-1, followed by Synthesis Strive 3-1. I took that game away from SSLs and gave this one in a sweep, but I do truly believe that that can be a bit of a fight. For our opener, a sweep against Bro Crocros, unfortunately, is where I went, because I feel like in these matchups, rounds are really good at keeping themselves competitive, but sometimes they lack a little bit of ice against these top invited teams that we play against, and I do fear that that is going to be the case yet again. So it's a deceptive 3-0 like essentially every other matchup we've had. Now, where we've disagreed, but again, barely, I've also got a Game 5 between LFORG and Death Cloud, and I flip-flopped between this one quite a few times, and my decider for this is I think I'd rather play LFORG than Death Cloud, and for me that made my decision. So I gave it to them. I have them losing to Bro Crocros in the upper finals. We've already played Death Cloud before, Rhino, in the Swiss stage, and we know how that went. It was not good. I will point out now the other side of the lower bracket. I also had a Game 5 between Unity and SSL, so glad we agreed on that part, but unfortunately I'm too used to seeing Unity be the organization of Heartbreak. I would know, I casted them for 2 years straight, and almost saw Heartbreak in the Swiss stage as well. I feel like they've already had their storyline here, being able to beat their rivals White Rabbit Gaming in round 5, and for me that was job done for them. They've made another top 16, they've turned themselves into a consistent main event side. For me, that's job done for Split 1. That's enough. Now it's SSL's turn to go to the lower finals, and in this case I've just got Death Cloud taking no prisoners, because when that team really starts to get themselves together, they are close to unstoppable. But now the part you're waiting for, Game 5 versus LFORG. Tough, but rounds are taking that. And then I've got us going Game 4 versus Strive Esports. And like yourself, I almost went Game 5 here. So realistically, we both had pretty similar brackets. It was just those Game 5s really tipped the scales. And honestly, this is making me feel a lot better, because I was scratching my head trying to put this together.
It's a really tough bracket to put together. It really is. So the fact that we do differ on a fair few, I think we're agreed on the top 2 teams that go through in Synthesis and Bro Crocros. But I think outside of that, it's all to play for. Anybody can take home the victory, as we rightly said. So, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, bring on the day. It's one of the most unpredictable days we've had in SSA. We are kind of used to a situation in SSA GSL where there are very clear top 8 teams and there are very clear bottom 8 teams at this point on a Friday. We don't find ourselves in that situation here, Pegasus. We very much find ourselves in the spots are available, and we've just got to get there. So let's take a look at the rosters for this first game of the day. Rounds versus Bro Crow Crow.
Well, this is the definition of being thrown in the deep end. Jeff, Ravi, and Stake stand against Renshiro, Onizuma, and Marzi. A trio which we hope are going to be in form for the GSL. I felt like Onizuma was somewhat caged during the Swiss stage. He was playing a little bit too safe for my liking. He's a player that I like to go out there with a little bit of ego. I want him to try and solo every play. He had that intelligence during Open 2 where he could go for everything and then just know when to dial it back just a little bit. Last time it was a bit too much for my liking, and we really didn't get to see him shine. But today on the big stage where he's got to prove it all, and it is his last chance in Split 1, I truly believe that we are going to see a completely different version of him.
Yeah, I hope so. I certainly hope so. It's one of those situations where, you know, it's not that they play badly. It's not that they had a bad day at the office per se, but we were talking about it before the games today, before the stream started. We just want to see that beast mode that we know can come out. Not the player, the mentality.
Yeah.
So for rounds, Shiro, Onizuma, and Marzi coming into this game, I would argue they've got nothing to lose in this game. This very much is a game where many people will have Bro Crow Crows as the favorite. So just come in and have some fun, play the game, and see how you get on. And hopefully we can see it so that rounds put on a good show, have momentum to take forwards into the next series of the day, whether that be in uppers or low.
And you speak about, this being an unpredictable bracket, and I don't think there's many people surrounding the SSA sphere that would disagree with you in that. But there is one part of this SSA run that people have predicted pretty confidently. And that's rounds not making top 8. We are the underdogs in this third open, which we definitely did not expect to be saying after the second open, and certainly not the first either. But after that Swiss performance, it's time to just embrace that truly is the case, and that these boys need to step up. And in my heart of hearts, they will.
And we'll see if they will indeed. And I have to make an apology, because as they spoke about on just SSAing on Monday, my prediction was that rounds would finish 12th in the official predictions for the SSA team. But we are ready to go into this game 1 of the day, this match 1 of the day. Get your engines started and warmed up. Rounds versus Bro Crow Crows is coming to your screens in just a moment. And here we go.
This is our home, this is our position, upper round 1, of course, facing one of the many Titan Spaniards in SSA. Stake stands against Ravi, and Jeff stand alongside him. But on the opposite side of the pitch, of course, it is the very recognisable Finn. Ooh. The man that represents rounds through and through, and his 2 Reunion A players alongside him, Renshiro. Look to try and get that first attack going. Ravi takes it off that back wall ceiling. Control down. Renshiro manages to get this one off to Marzi. And I like to already see some of these passing plays coming through. A high placing Renshiro as well in that build-up, because it is going to be a confident team that we need to bring on this GSL. They're never really a side I like to see just sticking around in the defenses.
Yeah, but that is pretty much what they're doing right now. Although Renshiro's found a gap, looks for the pass middle. Jeff is going to be able to cover it off. Onizuma into the middle. And yeah, rounds doing a good job. You have to go, of course, back to Open 2 for the last time these two teams met. As you rightly said, it was in the Swiss stage. and it was very much the stake show. Ravi and Jeff playing well, don't get me wrong, but when you've got the quality of the Spaniards on your side, sometimes he can just take over. And that is what happened in that game. Goodness me, that was not ideal, but rounds do escape. And with a minute and a half played, still 0-0, that will give confidence to the rounds team.
All over the top though, and Jeff is available to look for the bump. He does land it on Onizuma. And that will be an opening goal for Jeff. Just when we talk about the imports, it's actually the two South Africans on the roster that coordinate this first barrage. First goal for Bro Crocros. We do fear that it could be the first of many, but Rounds able to keep it rather solid in that first minute and a half. We made them work for it.
Yeah, certainly did. And a bump play on the goal line, those are going to be the kind of plays that Bro Crocros are going to have to pull off, although Onizuma, no, maybe not. That is a big mistake from the youngster. Jeff goes up, Renshiro's on the backboard. Just let Renshiro deal with it. Go back to a defensive position. Don't be a hero. Don't try and take it on your own. And that double commit has cost Rounds another goal. Bro Crocros now find themselves 2 up.
And it is tough when you do have a player that does like to be on the ball, like Onizuma, and it's a player that I did call for before this day began, but I want to see him on the ball more often. Let's be honest here, Renshiro is the defensive superstar on this team, and you've got to give him that space when it comes to those positions, and he'll give you those chances. He'll give you the privilege of space a little bit later in the build-up, and that's when players like Onizuma can really shine. But for now, that's another defense where Onizuma's been the last man standing. It has come through. Marzi, though, with the 50s, is so strong with his ground game. Can make a difference even in 3v3. And this is the start of what has to be a rather large difference to break a dent in Bro Crocro's record.
Yeah, but there's time. You know, just under 3 minutes. There is time on the board for Rounds to be able to bring things back. Onizuma going to call Marzi off on that left-hand side. We maybe want Onizuma to be a little more selfish, a little more egotistical that we know he can be. And hopefully by calling his players off like he did just there, we are seeing that come through. Here he goes, looking for the coast to coast. Can't get in front of the opposing man. Now Renshiro. It's a good piece of control, but Ravi, that's a huge 50. Sends it over to the far side where it's caught by Onizuma, but the touch is a little bit heavy. Played on that left-hand side. Bro Crocro's doing a good job keeping Rounds at arm's length, but now there's an opportunity. It will find its way back. Chance for the shot. Jeff has to make a save. Onizuma keeping the pressure on. Has he got a pass across the goal? He has, but Marzi is a little too far away. Coming through there. No, Renshiro off the right side immediately. Dunked by Ravi, who will try and get the better of Onizuma as well. Can't do so. Good taking it around the first. Jeff is sold a dream, but the last man back is the Spaniard who'll be able to clear his line.
Good sign from Onizuma there. Has the ball rolling towards him and decides to take it high. Go for a solo play. Fake landing off to Marzi. We spoke about it behind the scenes after the Swiss stage. Too many opportunities. The ball's rolling to him and he's booming it forward. Onizuma would never do that. And it looks like today he's got his mechanical wheels on. And he will be looking to make those attempts moving forward. Renshiro ends up laying that one off to Ravi. Jeff can't get that shot off the back wall. Marzi gets an initial miss. Onizuma still goes high. Just low enough to still cover that second option. And now Renshiro can take it by himself. And like I said, this is what he does. He tries to get the ball forward, but Jeff is just quicker on that second man press. Now Stake has an option. Renshiro's been forced to boom it out. And now this is dangerous. Marzi needs to make that clear. It's low boost all round. Renshiro, though, is finally able to collect some resources. And now seeing Onizuma on the ball, the teammates all wrapped up behind him. You feel it's a stronger position, but can turn so quick with a 50 from Stake.
Yeah, can, and there's Jeff. He knows he's got a bump on the goal line as well. Goes over the top. A good back four defense from Marzi. Needs to improve throughout this series if Rounds are going to have something to say about it. Marzi on the left side. It's bounced off that corner, and Shiro will have an open net, but there's two back, but a lovely finish from Marzi, top right corner. And with 20 seconds to go, this game is suddenly in the balance. A double commit on the goal line between Ravi and Jeff. Steak trying to get across, but he's got no boost. Is there something to be said about this game then, Pigasus?
I predicted a sweep. I did predict that these natured games do happen for rounds where they keep it close, but I criticize the ice, their ability to get the job done. If they could prove me wrong in the first game of the day, so be it. A 10-second call comes through, and it's going to have to be really late drama to do it in the first. Renshiro isn't going to be able to catch that. It's all about this 50-50, but Marzi is low. Onizuma doesn't have much, and Broco Crows will take game one. And it's a similar story for rounds, playing one of those top rosters with a Spaniard on the team within a 1-goal difference, but ultimately not enough. But we'll still give them the benefit. Remain confident. There's plenty more to go.
Yeah, there certainly is. And as you say, there's a lot to be confident about from that first game. Took a moment for rounds to get comfortable on their defense, but as soon as they did, the offense kind of came immediately afterwards. And just can't, in these moments, wake up only after going 3-0 down, because that will put you in a really, really difficult spot. So it was a good kickoff goal here from Marzi. Those kinds of aggressive 50s, not a lot of teams in the region are particular fans of dealing with that early aggression and those early challenges. Broco Crows are exactly one of those. So if Browns can continue playing forwards, try and take a few more of those 50s, play those high percentage 50s in the midfield, then you know, this could be a series that is going to extend beyond the confines of just a 3-0.
I mean, we see it with Pioneers, we see it with Five Fears, we see it with Broco Crows every time we play them. They love to keep control. They love to keep pressure. So there are those moments where they will try to take an extra touch, and that fear factor will give them the space and time to do so. But Marzi especially has always been that player with that bit of fearlessness about him that will challenge that ball no matter what. And he does catch these players off guard on quite a few instances. At times that can be Onizuma, but no player on the ground does it as much as Marzi does for rounds. Off the corner though, Ravi looking to get another early entry. Jeff will collect that one. And it's a very confident strike towards that back post. All three players caught in a rather high position have to tackle that ball on the back wall at an off angle. And well, simply the play was easier for one team than the other. That's the difference in positioning.
Called defensive panic. I guess that's exactly what we saw there. In Broco Crows. I've done it again. I've said too many crows. With the way that they played right there, just were too aggressive. Had too much boost. That's a lovely bump on the back line. Onizuma can't turn in time, but an opportunity here for rounds to try and take advantage. Lots of boost on the side of Broco Crows though, and that's going to cause problems for rounds. That's a lovely shot from the angle from Onizuma, keeping Broco Crows honest. And Shiro off the left. It's a ball across the middle. Onizuma's going to be called up now, but he misjudges it. So Marzi next up to bat, looking for the bump onto Jeff. Won't get there in time. Renshiro has to recover. Good pressure though from rounds after going 1-0 down.
And I love just that second Renshiro took to bring that ball behind, get him some space, and then hook himself around it to try and keep that ball forward. That's the little intelligent plays that Renshiro will bring to a roster, that one step back, 2 steps forward approach. But now it looks like we are going to actually stand 2 steps back. It's Broco Crows with the second goal, and it is Jeff with the amazing individual effort. Marzi believed that flip reset was going to be strong enough to take it over himself, stayed grounded. That ball ends up coming off his card disfavorably. Fortunate way to drop. But that's 2 to the good for Broco Crows. A similar position as before though, Rhino.
Yeah. Goodness gracious. Browns have got to kind of start realizing that the corners are the safe space, not immediately back from net, because that's where the opponents are going to be. And a lot of the times when we do concede, a lot of the times when we do let Broco Crows into the game again, it's because these touches being taken in front of net are going immediately out towards the middle of the field rather than over into the corners. And this is just Steak taking over. This is what he can do. The reset immediately puts The pace into the attack, top right corner, difficult to save, difficult to block. Rounds once again find themselves 3-0 down.
Put of a defender on a poster as well. That's the closest comparison. And absolutely no need to bump him afterwards. The ball was already essentially halfway in. Well, it just adds that little bit of extra pizzazz to his already very impressive strike. Onizuma made it too obvious. He was going to go for that 100. Always likes to take it high. So there he's beaten. Marzi clears. Stake going for the sidewall. Stopped by Marzi. The ball, though, was going in that direction no matter what. The inside passes have reached Jeff. Stake able to steal that 100 boost. Just continues to just smother the round's defense. And now Renshiro has no boost to take himself forward. He's one of the most resourceful players in SSA, though, so it still ends up working out for rounds. Backflip from Jeff. Now Renshiro has been given that extra inch to move forward. That bump will certainly help Marzi. Looks for the double. It was on target, but ended up being blocked here by Ravi. And that glimmer of hope falls away. Now it's time to defend.
Yeah, but the defense has already succeeded. It's time for the counter-attack now. Jeff able to clear that away, and that controlled touch can be so important in these moments. Now Marzi off the right. Demo from Onizuma is going to give Rounds an opportunity, but that pinch is a little too far. Renshiro maybe looking for some help, but Stake gets in the way. Over to that left side. Stake will intercept again, and another controlled touch from the Spaniard. Renshiro's not falling for it. Steals the ball again. Gets the boost steal as well. Try and keep Brocrocos in their half, but being 3-0 down with 1:15 to go. Seconds tick down Pegasus, and the likelihood of a turnaround is getting less and less.
Certainly is. Between 60 seconds and 3 goals against Brocrocos is certainly not a feat we will see by many teams in this season. Oh my goodness, what a zoomer. Almost getting that second touch. Of course he did. I mean, completely bumped off the play and still able to recover himself. As, again, not many players in the region that are able to pull that off. Still such a high-level talent to look out for. You look to try and pick the pocket of Jeff there. He got there first. Marzi inside to Onizuma yet again. This is that spirit I want him to play with a little bit earlier into the game, Rhino. Marzi strikes. Onizuma still local. Finds this one just under the crossbar. And if we can keep pressure like that for the remainder of the game, perhaps there is an opportunity. But I also want to see them do it for a full 5 minutes. I love that style of play.
And I think that second part is what I'm really focusing on, is it feels like that style of play only came out after going 3-0 down. When you feel like you desperately need a goal, when you really feel the requirements build up, you need to score. It's the only time it's really taken to the field. 4 rounds. Might be able to get 1 back in the time. It's not looking likely anymore. Good clearance, but the demo is taken. Ravi knocks it forwards. There's a chance for Jeff. He just puts it on the floor. Brocrocos take game 2. And Prophesizer, the Pegasus, does seem to be onto something with his predictions immediately. However, this game is not done yet, and you're absolutely right. If Rounds are able to put that kind of pressure on that we saw them do for the last kind of 2 minutes or so of the game, we'll be fine. We'll be okay.
Oh, this is my problem, Rhino. We've watched Rounds now for 3 opens, and even if we just focus on the second and the third, of course, because this is this version of this roster, Rounds play their best when there's almost nothing to play for. Why are they so good at these 1 minute left, 45-second left positions when they're already 3 goals down? That is genuinely the best time we see Rounds play, and this has happened during the Swiss as well. I mean, we had moments during the Swiss stage, and it's usually against teams like this, as long as it doesn't fall too far behind too early, where we're looking at the end and we feel like there's that hope, and we get close to that 0-second goal and we go, wow, that was a tight game. Maybe for 60 seconds. It's a 5-minute game. I need that the entire time. I need them to play with just that bit of hunger. Because look how dynamic Onizuma and Marzi were in those last 45 seconds. Rotations were so clean. They were so fast. Not even Broco Crows could keep up. And if Broco Crows are not keeping up, there are not many teams in this entire region that are going to be able to keep up. Yep. But you need to do that when it counts. Rounds are a team that need that bit of ice, and that does come with experience. Of course it does. But it also comes with a mentality shift. If I'm the coach in this instance, I'm honestly telling Rounds to play like they are 2 goals behind, because that seemingly is when they're at their best.
Does feel that way. Broco Crows try and get the very early passing play that we've seen a couple of teams use off the kickoff. Gonna find its way home this time for them. Marzi, a little bit of a heavy touch. Going to try and play the 50. Does a good job of it, but Ravi's car is just a little too strong. Jeff's got a double. He's got a triple, but it's not enough to turn the ball home. Stake looks for another opportunity, but he goes by. Now Marzi trying to catch up to the play, but it's Jeff there instead. Renshiro not being faked out. Does still lose possession. Now Onizuma gets control, and it's a messy start to game 3.
It is. Stake. Oh my goodness. Stall reset to keep the play going. That's creative. Onizuma looking to show some creative plays of his own. Fakes the sidewall. Just takes it off the back wall instead. Jeff able to knock this one up to Stake. Now back to himself. Corner read. Not on target. But it'll be enough to find Ravi. And this is the pace of play that can leave a defense dizzy, and Onizuma certainly did. Tried to turn on the 180. That top corner strike, though, too fast. 132 kph. This is how they do it at the top.
Yeah, and Ravi, one of the quickest out there. Starting to come through now as a recognizable face, but Onizuma, I'm going to say a weird phrase here. It's what looks like a simple reset, and he doesn't even get the reset. I don't think those back 2 wheels actually hit, but he still had his flip. Used it to perfection. Rounds back level, 1-1. We've not been able to say that all series long.
Onizuma is so good, so magical. He can flip reset with only 2 wheels on the ball. Those are the little advantages that he can give a roster. Marzi sends this one off a waterfall. This is an equalised scoreline now. Rounds have an opportunity to take charge, and they're on the back foot. They're already 2 games down. They've got nothing to lose. They come into this as the underdog, and Marzi absolutely plays like one. I said it before, when it comes to these ground plays where a player just has to be brave and step forward and catch an opponent off guard, my goodness, is it always Marzi.
Certainly is, and I mean, why not? Got to take the advantage when they come in these kinds of games. There's a demo on the back lines. This is going to be awkward for Rounds now. Not much boost to pick up on the map either. Double commit on the goal line. Rounds, stop panicking, start thinking. Jeff into the corner. Chance, but Onizuma sends it away. It's fastest up to that one. Renshiro out looking for boost. All down the line. Onizuma just shadowing that, making sure Stake doesn't make a mistake and give him the ball. Stake is too smart for that. Inches the ball across the other side. It's Jeff who takes it around 1. Ravi, the supporting cast, who will be brought in now. Marzi clearing away, but who is waiting for that play? It's Stake turning the corner, looking for the pass. Jeff into the bottom left corner. Rounds defense shaky and panicky yet again.
But this is class as well from Stake, dribbling it over the first man. Ravi's already prepared to go for the bump player on Onizuma, and Onizuma is the last man back. Doesn't want to commit to that high ball on the shots. Just so well worked. Broco Crows are so intelligent with how they create these 2v1 positions. They just always seem to outnumber their opponents. There we go, a 2v2 turned into a 2v1. They are just simply a beat ahead. That one, though, albeit coming from quite a dodgy clearance from Marzi, but that ball off the back wall and set up play towards Ravi from Stake is absolutely top draw. You can be in those positions, but it is a different skill set to be able to consistently profit off it every single time. Now's a chance for Rounds to profit off their own mistake. And they've given exactly what they've just taken.
That's gorgeous. That is liquid football. Prime Barcelona, that one. Rounds, as you rightly say, able to take advantage of a Crow's mistake. And how important could that one be? All square once again. 2 minutes 20 to go. It had been, I guess, relatively low scoring when you look at the region as a whole. 5-game matches, about right, I would guess. But this one looks like it's going to be even higher scoring from both sides. And from a rounds perspective, that's very positive, because even if this game is lost by rounds, they will take momentum, but they don't want to lose the game. They want to go ahead and win it. And Captain Fantastic buys the goods again, coast to coast, beats 2, gets 1 extra touch, gets beyond Stake. In fact, Goomba stomps him into the ground, and it's 4-3 with just under 2 minutes left.
And this would be the first time that Rounds has taken a game of this caliber of competition. We've had games that have been close, but ultimately all those series have resulted in a sweep in the opposite direction. Still plenty of time to try and hold on to. 2 minutes feels like a millennia when you're against Crows. But Rounds, there is something different about the way they're playing. Ravivo off the ceiling. This is dangerous. Triple off the backboard. Jeff's already out. Bell's away. Stake is there now. Flip reset will generate power behind. But this one just about goes over. And Shiro jumps early. Uses flip so well to recover. And Marzi makes sure not to commit his flip forward. That would have left on Azuma with forcing an open net for their opponents. Now Stake has to think a lot more about his play moving forward. Ends up blocking his own teammates. And now on Azuma, on the counter. These are the moments you have to take. Charger and Shiro for the punishment. Crossbar here. Marzi still attacks. There is life in Rounds.
Certainly is. And that's a lovely steal from Renshiro. Has he got help though? No. No one coming through. Jeff turning around. Renshiro going back towards his own net. That's a brilliant 50 by Jeff. Can't argue with that one. Gets around 1 in his own half. Takes it through. Renshiro is told to get on the weights. The bump onto Marzi is perfect. And it's all square once again. 45 seconds left. Crows do enough to stay just at the same level as Rounds are, even with how well the Rounds side are playing.
And I didn't even notice that bump in the first place. I thought he'd flipped early, anticipating the 50-50 would clear out in a different direction. Well, that's how Crows are so consistent at just upping the percentages in every single play. Ravi takes this over, and Rounds do what they can in that defense. That 50 just goes against them. But look how quick reaction time is from Jeff. Completely anticipates where that ball is going to fall, and he has to jump so early to read that off the ceiling and bait Renshiro. They're just always just a beat ahead, and that's what sees them take this distance. It's what might end up with them running away with a sweep against Rounds again, despite such a tight affair. But Marzi could change that all with just 100 boost, a dream, a self setup on that right wall, and his reunion aid teammate inside. It does drop down. It is a sweep to Crows. It is a very similar story for Rounds against these top opposition. We definitely played to our opponent's strength there, Rhino. But where's the question every time? Can they maintain it? Will they now play down to the opponents, which on paper should be easier?
Well, that's the question. The question that we're going to need to figure out the answer to coming up. Pegasus, it was such a back and forth game number 3. I feel like if that is game number 1 specifically, then we're talking about a completely different series, because that felt so even right there. And it didn't take 3 or 4 minutes for Rounds to warm up in that game number 3. They were on it right from the first whistle. And so, yeah, a tough one to take for Rounds for sure. A lot of lessons to learn. And Crows prove why they are one of the top 4 in the region. They continue to impress in both GSL and in the hybrid stage in top 8. So yeah, it would not surprise me if they go on to do more fantastic things.
Absolutely. They're going to be playing one of LFO or Deathcloud, who are currently sitting in a Game 5 position. And last I checked, by the way, Unity were 2-1 up against Synthesis. I'm not quite sure how that has moved on ever since, but that is already a pretty ridiculous result. It's an amazing match there for Unity. But they've proven now that they are certainly not a slouch roster. But for rounds, that last game's so tough because, and I say this every time we face a team like this that's in, you know, that top 4, honestly top 6 range in SSA now. There's such a wide array of talent. You can't just beat these guys by just playing Rocket League because they have magic about them. And it was those magical moments from the likes of Stake and Ravi, especially for me, that changed the course of that game. You know, the flip resets off the ceiling, the quick reads on the redirects, those fast passing plays, the bumps that come in on the follow-up just to make sure that no shot is simply just that. They really make you struggle through, and it's going to create quite an interesting GSL bracket moving forward. Well, we said the bracket was going to be unpredictable. I believe that is going to remain the case for the rest of the day. It is, wow, Game 5s all round, Rhino. Your prediction bracket is looking a little bit less insane, but even still you underestimated those first 2 semi-finals.
Yep, I did. I did, apparently. I mean, look,
wow.
What that shows you right in front of you is just how competitive this GSL bracket is. It proves the point we were talking about earlier. The fact that every single game bar 1 is going to a Game 5. Everyone's here to play. Everyone's here to take those top 8 spots. There's only 4 available from this bracket. Everyone wants them. So we'll see how things go. Rounds dip down into the lower bracket semi-final. But of course, they will dip down against the loser of LFO or Deathcloud, who are going to be incredibly hurt after losing a Game 5. It doesn't matter what circumstance you lose a Game 5 in. That affects your mental. So dropping down into the lowest for either of those 2 teams is not going to be easy.
Well, it's just not been a real decisive, dominant series for anyone in this second group. I mean, even the Broco Crows versus Rounds matchup, those of here that watch it know 2 games within 1. The last game decided in the last 90 seconds with 2 rather quick goals from Broco Crows. This is an insane bracket, and actually you're still on for your game count right now. It's just that the 2 games you gave to Rounds have been spread amongst Unity and SSLs instead, so you're still on for that record-breaking count in the GSL. But ladies and gentlemen, let's make this a record-breaking stream for Rounds so far this season. Stick around, because moving forward we still look to make that dive into a top 8 position, a spot on mainstream, a spot, a time zone, of course, for the hybrid bracket. Ladies and gentlemen, do not go anywhere, because we will not have that long of a break, and it is going to be quite the battle in the lower bracket.
What if I told you, from now on, the only thing you need for gaming is this desk. Uneven Base is a complete esports setup. It includes a powerful computer, keyboard, mouse, and monitor, all in one lightweight build. Uneven Base is foldable, portable, and easy to set up. Perfect gaming experience wherever you want. And of course, yeah, there's RGB. Uneven Base. Now it's about you.
Siis mikä voi olla niin tärkeää, että äijä ei näy 2 viikkoon? Äijä on tullut takaisin. No niin, let's go. Pitkästä aikaa pelikenttä.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
And well, we've seen this story before. Rounds in an upper round one, playing a team with 2 South Africans and a Spaniard, getting swept, but having that game full rather close. 2 games with a 1-goal difference. It looked like they could pick up the result in that third to get the reverse sweep started, but ultimately Broco Crows were too strong. But that deja vu does not come to an end as we enter the lower stages of the bracket, as we do face a familiar foe from the Swiss stages of Open 2. Rhino, it's Death Cloud to fight for survival in this lower bracket. It is never going to be easy when it comes to this Group B of the GSL. This is the most ridiculous bracket, frankly, I have ever seen in any region ever.
Yeah, I mean, 3 Game 5s off the bat in uppers. That's going to tell you all you really need to know about how close this side of the bracket, this GSL bracket is. And, of course, if you were here and watched Broco Crows versus Rounds, you know that that was a closer game than a sweep would dictate. So things happening as we start to move forwards. People would have given any of those games to any of the teams, although I will say I don't think many people would have seen Unity taking a 5-game victory against Synthesis. I think that's probably the big surprise for me so far today. Drive losing to SSLs, that absolutely could have happened. Death Cloud losing to LFO, other way round, that absolutely could have happened as well. So I think those 2 results, no surprises. But yeah, that top one shocks me, I think is fair to say. So seeing Synthesis having to go down to the lower bracket, and then if they do beat Strive, having to play the loser of Broco Crows versus LFO, goodness gracious, that game's going to be outrageous.
Yeah, that is going to be disgusting. I mean, you're guaranteed to have a team that is familiar with the top 8 not make it to that position with how this group has lined up. But for Unity, they've been pretty slow burning throughout the entirety of this season so far. We could see them slowly getting better. I mean, they faced us after 2 Game 5 losses in a row, I believe it was for them actually, in the Open 2 GSL stage, and that included, of course, that incredible Lackstar team pinch that I completely cursed to make happen in the first place. But this has been, and we can say this so early, we're approaching the halfway point now of the season, the best season of SSA we have seen in a bloody long time, Rhino. It is so competitive. And by the way, that Unity team, full SSA roster, coming forward and doing this much damage, it personally just makes me really proud to watch. Of course, I am a former Unity boy. I love to see it. Everyone loves Lackstar over there, but they've still got a lot of work to do, and it's not going to get easy for them. In fact, we have the chance to play them should they lose to SSLs and we beat Death Cloud. So that would be another devastating rematch to complete a day which has been full of them, actually.
Yeah, it certainly has, and especially when you look back at SSL's games from the Swiss, I can't lie, I'm trying to find them and I'm doing a bad job. There we go. So they went 3-1 in Swiss last week, while the Unity boys on the other side, they went 3-2. But goodness gracious me, did they work for it. Game 5 OT against White Rabbit Gaming. They've really had to go through the ringer to get to this point. So but we'll see exactly how things go. But for me personally, this next game is going to be the big test for Rounds. I think I said it to you before the stream today. If Rounds are able to get through the first 2 games with a 1-1 record, didn't matter whether we won against Broco Crows and then went down to the lower bracket, or lost to Broco Crows and won our second game. We go 1-1 in this bracket, there is a really, really big chance of securing that top 8. And we just have to try and do it. We just have to try and get that over the line. It's going to be much easier said than done, though, Pig.
Always. And we had pretty Similar but different experiences when it came to the Swiss stage this Open. They also ended up qualifying through round 5, but it was in very different fashion. Unity in round 1, game 4 victory. Akimbo in round 2, game 5 loss. T2G Esports in round 3 with a sweet victory for them. Then getting swept by Strive Esports and then playing E1 and beating them game 4. Just a reminder, that is, let me just double check that, 4 out of the 5 teams they played qualified, which is the highest amount that can be, because of course you've got the round 5, someone's got to not make it. So they actually entered this GSL stage with a 5 BU score. What on earth are we talking about? I have not seen a score that high in quite some time, especially for a team that actually qualified. They made it despite that strength of opposition. As for rounds, we had a -4 heading here. It should have been a walk in the park to get to this spot. And there were times where we were definitely thinking, yeah, this is a lot tougher on the pitch than it really should be for rounds. So let's hope that we get a stronger round today, because if we are going part by part here, I think the BU score has actually done a pretty good job to dictate who should be the favourite in this matchup. And unfortunately, Rhino, that's not us in this form.
No, unfortunately, it is not. And you say, by the way, that you've not seen a BU score that high in a while. Well, there's another team that also had a BU score of 5, and that's Astronic. 3 of the 4 players that they played, 3 of the 4 teams that they played managed to get through. One of them through 3-0, of course. And then on the other side of the bracket, in Group B, there was a Bookhold score of 6. Pegasus. It was Randoms who, all of those 5 teams once again, had got through. Randoms didn't quite make it through because they lost to us in that game 5. Goodness gracious me. But either way, some very high and very low Bookhold scores. But we can now take a look at the game that is coming up. It is Rounds versus Deathcloud. Renshiro, Onizuma, and Marzi taking on Tishao, Tweaked, and Twinza. Triple T, if you want to call them that. And Deathcloud, they're going to be really struggling by believing they are in the lower bracket of GSL. They want to be in top 8.
I love that. Yeah, they're Triple T from now on. And I was about to say, these are pretty young rosters on either side. I think they'll really appreciate that when they watch this one back. Of course, Tweaks being the youngster on that Deathcloud roster, he is such an exciting player for the future of SSA. Of course, coming from a region that we're not all too familiar with at the highest levels, being Namibia, paired alongside a German in Twinza, and of course Teshao, one of the many now Reunion A players that are standing up, and Azuma and Marzi, of course, being a part of that pedigree. But Teshao and Tweaks have been a duo for quite some time now, Rhino. Couldn't quite get it together for the 2025 season, but my goodness, have they popped off in the 2026. And Deathcloud as an organization heading into the RLCS, originally starting as just a bedroom org, that's an incredible story in its own right.
And I've absolutely adored Deathcloud. Have done since a long time ago, since I first understood that they were an organization. They love the SSA region as well. They've been in here for a while. They've been about the block. But Rounds are here to ruin their party, end their Open 3 early, make a lot of people very confused as we get into top 8 on that SSA panel. Where are Deathcloud? What happened to Deathcloud? They got beaten by Rounds in the top 16. That's what happened to Deathcloud. All right. Remember the name. Remember the position. Renshiro, Onizuma, Marzi here to cause chaos in the bracket.
And this is going to be the matchup of the night. This is going to be the big one to wait for, ladies and gentlemen. For Rounds, it's a story of loyalty and new beginnings. For Deathcloud, it's always been the same. From rags to glory, one team stands in their way. It's us, ladies and gentlemen. Load for Rounds!
Oh, can you feel it? That's what happens when your back's against the wall, when you've got one opportunity to try and save your Open. And that's where Rounds and Deathcloud find themselves. Lower semi-final. Top 16 for the team that lose. Top 12 and beyond for the team that take the victory. We have kickoff.
And of course, this is a rematch of, like I said, an Open 2, the Swiss stage. These very same two rosters face for Death Cloud. It was a very calm day in the office. Dominance against this round's roster. They had just found their footing. It was, of course, only their, I believe, second week playing as a team. Now they've got some time to try and iron out all the wrinkles in their play. And it may have not shown in the Swiss, but there were positive signs coming out that first matchup against Broco Crows. Marzi looking to give us something to celebrate for early in his first game of lowers. But for now, it's what I expect this game to be. A match of very heavy blows and equally heavy responses.
Yep, and of course, Marzi and Onizuma will be looking across the field and seeing Teshao, Reunion brother. Reunion is taking over SSA, that's for sure. Lots of Reunion players coming through in the RLCS. And we do love to see it, but an island with so few inhabitants. I'm going to ignore what I just saw on the screen and keep going. You know, it's great to see that they've really taken to Rocket League and they want to improve, and that's exactly what they're doing. So more Reunion is never a bad thing. Tweaks down this right-hand side, more Namibians is not a bad thing either. If we can find a few more that want to get involved, as Tweaks, the Lone Ranger, I would say, for that nation.
And I believe Space Crisp, the owner of Death Cloud, is German himself. They made sure that there was some representation on the roster. And Twinzer in his own right is a player that honestly I've not seen all too often, but has really impressed me in this season, especially taking on those two youngsters alongside him. There's a lot of responsibility, a lot of pressure, a lot of value in being that import player. He really has stepped up to the mark. Still, your locals have to stay consistent, and Tweaks and Teshao certainly have stepped up to that plate, but Renshiro, our own import, lays this one off to Marzi. Is unable to get that second touch. Tweaks looks to get creative on a flip reset. That's something you can expect from those two young talents. Shot on, saved once again by Marzi, and now it's Renshiro to take us forward.
Yeah, Twinzer, of course, people will recognize from last season on the 77 blocks roster, a full EU roster, and you can, of course, boo those now that we have the 2/3 rule in place. Hang on a moment, Marzi going the distance! Standing Tweaks up, making him guess what he was going to do next. A great beat on that right wall. Tweaks then lost. Not convinced he was going to get the first touch, so decides to play Shadow. And Marzi tells him that was a mistake. Rounds lead 1-0.
You have two goals that Marzi is guaranteed to score in a series. Just a 1v2 beats completely off the ground, and those ego challenges he loves to do against his opponents. And every time we give him that ounce of respect. Marzi, on this occasion, beating off on the 50 on Azuma. Despite nothing in the tank, forces that one forward. Actually gets a 33 refill after that demo lands on him. Good control here from Marzi. I love the way he keeps that ball close. Yeah. Now rounds have time to regroup when Shiro goes high. That ball's forced low. Great recovery from Marzi to cover that second option. On Azuma was dumbfounded by that last touch. Marzi dropping yet again. Demo comes through and Shiro keeps it tight. And this is the matchup we hoped this would be, Rhino.
Yeah, it certainly is. Very tight, very close. The game will be decided by inches rather than miles. When Shiro is moving across, needs that 100 boost, doesn't get it. Can he get it on the second time of asking? Gets demoed anyway. They would have lost it, but the clearance should come through. Marzi playing it downfield. Tweaks plenty of time to move that away. Gets the better. If I believe that was on Azuma, it certainly was. Now ball into the middle. Marzi to clear. Would have liked him to have just taken that a little bit closer to the chest. Shot on. Ball over the top from Teshao. This is Renshiro. Up to Onizuma. Just faking out the goalkeepers, but the problem is the ball didn't have that much power behind it. Just under 40 seconds to go. Death Cloud still knocking on the door at times, and they will move forwards once again. Onizuma needs a second touch here. Gets it as well. So important for the youngster to get that extra touchdown field. With 20 seconds, the clock is now round's friend.
And we feel like this first game has so much significance. You'd call this squeaky bum time. Marzi though, has an open net, takes his dive, do it, Marzi! Composure, lads! Composure! Marzi leading by example!
Well, that's a bit interesting, isn't it? Bottom right-hand
Very.
corner, and Marzi won't find a much easier goal, will he? The beautiful extension of the lead for rounds. And unless this one goes in, which it doesn't, you would have to believe that game one is going to be going in rounds' favour. And how important game one is in best of fives. Twinza does find the upper 90. But to be honest with you, Pegasus, not too worried about it. Zero's on the clock. Deathbound will take the loss in game one. They've got a little bit of momentum maybe going into the next game, but by the same token, rounds are right there with them.
But it allows us to appreciate the importance of that second goal that Marzi was able to pick up, who, by the way, I mean, it's obvious on the stats. I was going to say it regardless before I even saw it. He had an excellent performance there. It was two really well-worked goals from him individually, and I really want us to take some focus on this second goal. We don't really look too deep into these replays all too often, but it was deceivingly difficult for him to get this shot across, because you've got to put this into context. This is second open with this team. This is the last chance of this split. You just have to keep your cool. Your heartbeat is pumping. You played Death Cloud. This is a team that has swept you beforehand, and he still doesn't panic flip in that position. He keeps it close. He knows he has the time. The teammates call it, and he just takes those few deep breaths to walk it home. Again, not impressive if you do that in ranked. If you do it when competing for hundreds of dollars and, of course, the pride of being at the top level of Rocket League, yeah, it has that extra bit of oomph to it.
Yeah, I mean, this game is the difference between $600 and $1,050. You know, there's an extra $400 on the line. So, no, but it is a lot of money. Certainly at this level, it's very, very important for the orgs and for the players. Get that over the line. So we'll see exactly how we go. As rounds, well, they're looking now to get their second game of the series. Onto the left-hand side goes Onizuma, out of the corner, waiting for Marzi. Angle not found, but close to the opener for round.
He is looking dangerous today. I don't think we've really had a day where Marzi has super stood out for me. He's always somewhat played second fiddle to a more dominant player on the roster, and that can be either one of Renshiro or, of course, Onizuma, but it just seems like this is his day. Again, setting up Onizuma this time. Onizuma's up fast for that second ball test shout with zero boost. Just booms this one across. Twinza is forced to use 80 of his 90. Last one goes there, trying to challenge Renshiro. He'll struggle his way through. Now Onizuma. I didn't think he'd get the luxury of that second touch. He does. Maybe a third for the double instead. Twinza is forced to rotate back to defense. At least they maintain survival, but it's all donuts on the clock.
Yeah, Marzi struggling there to stay with the play down that right-hand side. Onizuma now going to look for the pass down to his compatriot. Marzi doesn't get there, but Onizuma backboard, leaving it for Renshiro. Bottom right corner off the post. Deathbound backs against the wall, off the crossbar again. Double commit coming through from Deathbound, but it's not capitalized on. The rotations from rounds, just not quite there, but they're going to try again. Onizuma's got the better of Tweaks, not the better of Twinza, though. Down that side, Marzi into the corner. Teshao sends away. Renshiro into the net. There's a bump on the goal line. And rounds are starting to tick over nicely.
And at first, I thought this was a misplay from Death Cloud, but it is completely orchestrated by rounds. This is the type of gameplay we need to see, Rhino. If we want to believe in those top 8 chances in what is the toughest open, the toughest GSL bracket to do so, that's how they've got to play. Renshiro keeps it towards that left wall. 3 minutes remaining, and I do have an inkling that a second goal is guaranteed to be scored. What half that comes from is still yet to be dictated. We would need it to be that round's insurance. Twinza just about gets this one past Renshiro's reach. Tweaks doesn't get on the end of this first play. Teshal's double is going to be stopped quick here by Onizuma. Looks to try and play it to his man, and seemingly confused his opponents in that position, and that pass didn't land as nicely as he would have liked. Tweaks off the ceiling, drops it down. It's a self setup for the second. Onizuma, is it going to fall bait to it? Waits for the complete commit of Teshout. And once that ball was guaranteed to fall in a certain spot, he pounced on that fast. It is, again, just a degree of calm, yet still that hunger from rounds where they commonly really struggle to find that balance.
Yeah, we really saw some panicky defense and even panicky offense in Series 1 of the day. It's almost as if maybe Spooky has got on the microphone, just told rounds to calm things down, play that little bit slower maybe. Just take a breath, think about the touches you're taking. Is working out for them. That's a nice pass in field from Renshiro. Onazuma's going to be given the chance. He takes it past one. Is there a bump on the goal line? There's not, but there should be a follow-up. Tweaks! How have you got there? And he's just nudged it away from the onrushing rounds players. There's a demo in the attack. It's now Twinza off the ceiling. Tweaks trying to befuddle, confounds the rounds defense, and doesn't quite do enough. Onizuma does, though. Gets past two. Now he's just got Tweaks ahead of him. Flicks it beyond him. Hopes he doesn't have the boost. Tweaks has the boost. 1 minute 20 to go.
And I believe that Tweaks does have some 1v1 poise. That certainly was on show, but Twinza completely miscalculates where this ball is going to land. And well, it's 180 ping versus 140. Those extra touches looking shaky on his screen, and Renshiro finally gets to feel the benefits of it this time.
Well. Who'd have thought we'd be here? Onizuma looking for the ball across. It's not going to happen. Will be a ball up on that left-hand side. Renshiro just waiting, allowing Marzi to come through, who... It's a real coming-of-age day for Marzi today by the looks of things. Been playing lights out since the start. Cleared away. Marzi again, backboard. Didn't really need to read it. The waterfall was difficult to read in the first place. 45 seconds now to go. Rounds getting closer and closer to being one step away from top 12. Onizuma off that left side. Tweaks deals with it well. Trying to bring it through. Great pass across. That should be the third. It is the third. Onizuma gets on the board. 32 seconds left. I think rounds are going to be going 2-0 up in the series.
I have fallen trapped to say this so early, so many times, Rhino, and I am itching to say it right now. But if there's anyone that curses this stream, it's myself, so I'll leave that off for the time being. Tweaks looks to get this attack forward. Twinza cuts in from a tough angle. Onazuma's hunting for the bum. Now he can go straight towards the ball. It comes off that corner. Tweaks a zero boost, has to leave it instead for Teshout, and Twinza has to put himself high as well. Didn't want to be towards that front post. Instead, takes it down, takes control, brings it forward. Score if you'd like, but your time is up. Rounds will double up their game score in this series. And dare I say, very convincing fashion. Oh my goodness, is it happening?
Let's not start to consider is it happening just yet. But I tell you something, things are starting to be very, very positive for rounds. Playing well. 2 goals for Renshiro, a goal for Onizuma, but I still believe that Marzi is the linchpin of this team. I still believe that he's the man who I'm looking at today as the player with the biggest step up, the biggest increase in quality, playing incredibly well when required. Deathcloud cannot match up against this round's roster, and I'll tell you what, Spooky said it in chat, and I absolutely believe it. No Bromeo in chat equals rounds victory. It does seem to be that simple.
I mean, he is just a boogeyman for this roster. He hates them so much. He loves putting curses on us at this point just to prove himself right. It's selfish. Honestly, it's selfish because there are players here with a dream. Onizuma and Marzi want to step up. I do firmly believe that they can. And there is action all throughout the bracket right now. I see an 8-minute overtime.
I'm looking at that.
Somewhere.
Oh, it's finished now.
Stake just got it finished at 8:03. Why is there an 8-minute overtime? Broco Crows versus LFO. Okay, that makes a little bit more sense. But my goodness, what a day of SSA it has been. But it would be even better If that was followed up by a sweep here for rounds, or just at least a victory, I don't care how long it takes, just please don't get eliminated. Teschel misreads off the backboard. Renshiro, misreads that ball completely. Not a great shot. Mistake for a mistake. 2 wrongs make a, well, pretty neutral.
Yeah, that's a mistake, though. Unfortunately, 3 mistakes was the limit that we found ourselves in. As Onizuma, yeah, that's not going to be one he wants to watch back. But Deathcloud get on the board with a 1-0. Rounds now. Just need to settle things down a little bit. That's a great kickoff. Renshiro just going to try and drive that one home into the bottom right corner. Just misjudges it. T-Shell was not getting there. Tweaks trying to take it through. Onizuma might have a player there. Marzi almost playing like a shield for his teammate. Rounds, good pressure after going 1-0 down.
Absolutely. Still the first minute, and I do feel confident right now in the Round's ability to take it over the line. That is a lovely play forward. Renshiro again goes for a strike with not much power behind it. That's his third, unfortunately, off the game in 1 minute. That means we're getting our chances. Tweaks bumped off by Marzi. Renshiro has some boost of a tank. Tweaks was deceived there by an open net. Onizuma was back in time, sacrifices himself at a touch to keep it in the corner. Tweaks takes a soul for himself. That pass though goes across. It is a long ball down, and Marzi will try and stay close. Onizuma keeps it in this corner. Renshiro looking for that catch. It's going to be a tough ball to find a second, so Marzi instead cuts rotation. I like that play. Onizuma keep it tight. Oh my goodness, the youngster diverts all expectations. A reunion of the Onizuma we saw in Open 2. Welcome back.
Oh, that excites me. That's like a coffee in the morning. I'll wake you up. Hell yeah, Onizuma. That's the kind of play we want to see from the reunion youngster. Marzi over on that right-hand side. You can't forget that it was basically set up by Marzi getting the beat on his opponent to play it onto that backboard. No backboard defense from Deathcloud present. Now Rounds very much back in it. Marzi, can he get another beat? Not this time. Tweaks rises highest. T-Shell off that right side, just knocking it forwards, but backboard defense is present on the Round side. Onizuma, have you got more for us? Tweaks wins the 50, bringing it through. Renshiro, how's he been able to get a touch there? It might have been one that he doesn't want to actually hit, though. Does manage to make the save in the end. Deathcloud starting to move forwards, but it's a good clearance here from Rounds. Can they capitalize?
Back on. Onizuma looks to take this ball inside. Twinzer will take it across the corner here to Tweaks. Marzi should reach his ball first, doesn't play it into the man that was looking for the dunk. Comes off the hook. Onizuma unleashed. Ooh. Skips past his last man. Teschalvo was the final force. Marzi just beaten there, outspared by Tweaks. He's so good at leaping himself into those positions. It's not often that we have seen Rounds beat into the ball in this game, but Tweaks is just a completely different talent. Twinzel abandons Onizuma, doesn't get that team pinch with Renshiro. I'm not quite sure if that was the plan in the first place. Marzi gets that 50. Oh my goodness, it's so strong, and it's now back into the danger area. Onizuma, though, is 50'd off into those safe corners, now turned dangerous as Teschal looks for the inside space. Now Twinzer.
Great 50s being won by Rounds on that left-hand side. Marzi into the middle, but there's a demo in the back lines. Twinzer's taken out Renshiro, who I think would have had not an empty net, but certainly an opportunity. Bit of a misjudgment there by Onizuma. Marzi down the left side. He's our 50 merchant. He's not going to be able to get one there. Does need to go back and get some boost, so Twins are given some time on the ball down the right-hand side off the backboard. Marzi gets up really well, sends it back from whence it came. The great play off the corner from Onizuma. Renshiro will get there first, but it won't find its way onto the backboard. Marzi, middle, no one there. Tweaks to send it away, but this pressure coming out from Rounds is continuing to be so impressive. He just needs to find that extra touch, and maybe Renshiro's found it! Yes! Tweaks can't get back in time! 57 seconds left, and Rounds find the gap!
He bleeds green! It's Renshiro again for Rounds! 57 seconds to hold against the team which we have already faced our adversities against in the previous Open. Renshiro once more takes it over one. Tweaks is there as the last man. And Teshao. Oh, that's a lot of control moving up. A dangerous man to see in possession. The flip reset, though. Not going to get past Renshiro, but this is going to be a three-pronged attack. Deathcloud with everything to gain from this chance and absolutely nothing to throw away now. Demo taken low by Teshao. That one touch from Onizuma is going to be crucial for the final 20.
So important. So unbelievably important. All across. Another Demo. It's all-out attack from Deathcloud right now, and it has to be 10 seconds to save your Open 3. Rounds just need to see it out. Get the ball on the ground. It's starting to heat up. Tweaks with the shot. No way! And the pass into the middle, not blocked by anyone from Around's Persuasion. Look at the boost tallies on the right-hand side. Onozuma's gone to get 100. Marzi and Renshiro left limited. And well, I said they had to save their Open 3. They've done just that. OT looms, and OT is here.
This is always the case with rounds. They love to do it for the content, we always say. Tweaks over one.
Wow.
50, Renshiro. My goodness, that had to be perfect. It absolutely was, but now this counter comes out. Twinters on the back foot, takes off the back wall. That's so much more intelligent than the shots. Onizuma doesn't get on the end, anticipates that he's going to have to 50 back with Twinter, and that never comes. It's a whiffy. Teshao off the backboard. Does drop in for Onizuma. It's so tough, though, to really barrage that one through the defense. Tweaks. He's going to take it up himself, and he has an option with Teshao on the inside. That connection have generated so much power. I'm not sure if the round's reaction time was going to be there to catch. Renshiro has plenty more time. Catch to 50 this occasion. Off the corner, falls to Onizuma. Just goes for the shot. Love to see him take control in those positions. Marzi forced to make that boom with low resources in the tank. Renshiro has plenty to work with, but he is always the 50-50 Titan. None will come out. 100-0 for Deathcloud. The bump landing from Onizuma, and the fear factor simply increases.
It certainly does. That one's going to find its way across. And you know what? Again, it's one of those plays you just see forming in front of you. Teshao into the middle. Renshiro gets dusted and then just second guesses himself. Onizuma can't get back across in time. And it's hands on heads. The first opportunity for rounds to secure themselves a top 12 goes begging. And you know what it is. You know what it is, Sir Pegasus. During that overtime, we were live on the Greybeard stream, and Bromeo put something in chat while our game was live, and that is why we lost. That is the
goodness. It's always him, ladies and gentlemen. It's always him. Winner of this series, of course, still has to win another in that losers finals. That's potentially either SSL or Unity Esports, and for Unity Esports, what a story this is for them right now. Of course, qualified through round 5 for Swiss, beating their fierce rivals, White Rabbit Gaming, to do so. That was a reverse Swiss, by the way. Now, in the uppers, currently 2-0 up in series score against SSL. Looks like that might just drop down to 2-1. This would be their first ever top 8 in the organization's history.
Wow.
Which could be superseded by their first ever top 6 instead.
Yeah.
And the only thing standing in their way is a potential reverse sweep, which has now begun with SSL taking that first game. So this is the Open, Rhino, for teams that don't make top 8 apparently to now make top 8. It is all lining up.
It is.
But now a lot of pressure falls on this next game.
Yeah, and Deathcloud, I mean, give Deathcloud credit. They showed a lot of heart in that game 3. 2-1 down, 2 seconds to go, and you find an infield passing play from absolutely nowhere. And then it is just a round's mistake that gives them the OT victory. So just once again, going back to the fact that rounds struggle when it comes to the icy moments. Keeping teams out when it matters most. Goodness me, a bright start from Deathcloud might result in a goal. If not for Marzi on the goal line.
All over here for Renshiro. Oh, takes that ball across. Onizuma has acres. Wants to drop it back down to Renshiro. That works the fake. Marzi! Oh my goodness! Don't do that to my heart! No tap, I guess!
Oh my
I'm not
goodness.
sure how intentional, but we take those every day of the week. Don't do that.
I'm gonna need like 5 minutes and a cup of tea to figure out what on earth just happened there.
I don't think caffeine would work for me, mate. I don't think I need that caffeine right now. That was my shot that I'll need for the rest of this exam period. I might get a noise complaint. I might get a fine because of that double tap, by the way.
You know what? I'd pay it. Worth it.
Please. Oh, if you could, that'd actually be pretty ideal.
Yeah, I got you. Don't worry.
I'm not going to lie to you. Okay, cheers, mate.
Yeah.
Cheers.
I'll drop you the PayPal later. It's all good. As this ball down the right-hand side, T-Shell trying to find Deathcloud away back into this game once again. Double commit on the backboard for Rounds. Really hate to see that. That's one of the things that makes your stomach turn, is those backboard double commits that Rounds, unfortunately, are rather fond of it from time to time. Doesn't come back to bite them just yet. Twinzer angles. Good block by Onizuma. No way. No way. The demo on the goal line was perfect. T-Shao, how on earth have you not equalized this game?
It was just too tough for him. The aura of Renshiro was too strong. He doesn't even have to be in the net anymore. He is in this case, though, thank goodness. Gets a touch. Brings us forward. Twins is there to catch. Tweaks with a full tank of boost. Is beaten by a man with none. It's Marzi yet again. With those ego challenges we love oh so much. When Shiro 50's off, Marzi stays patient this time. Waits for that boom ball across. Twinzer was getting pressured by Renshiro. That's what forced the heavy ball in the first place. And that bounce is unfortunate for Onizuma. You could see he was playing up the wall for it. Instead, that goes across, but there's no far post option. Tweaks resorted to playing close instead.
Wow.
And Namibia, no. Scores that top corner shot. I just simply don't understand the shot selection that's finding the back of the net.
I mean, that is a laser. That's an absolute laser into the top left corner. Cannot argue with that. And so Deathbell once again find themselves back level. Rounds will look to once again extend to a 2-1 lead. It's all looking very similar to game number 3, which I very much dislike. Onizuma gets an extra touch. Backboard, no bump. Marzi collects. Oh, he's just got a little bit awkward. Still gets it around 1. The class on show. Not enough just yet. Onizuma over the top. Renshiro, have you got a pass? Have you got a dish maybe? Pass to the back post. Marzi to finish the job. Rounds back in the lead.
He may not have had a dish, but he's put it on a plate for Marzi. Simply open. You just have to reach it. Rounds earned themselves their advantage, but 2 minutes is a very, very long time.
Certainly is. Twins are going to leave that one on Onizuma off the left side. And to bring it through, there's still a chance. Top left corner. How has Teshel got up to that? How on earth has Teshel been able to save Deathcloud again? Onizuma off the backboard, sending it long. Tweaks to collects, turning the corner, waiting for the Renshiro challenge. Moving middle, Marzi goes by, top left corner, it's been our Achilles heel before. Not this time, a demo on the back lines, that's enough. This game is so back and forth, Pegasus, what is happening?
It was coming. It was coming. Came really close with those earliest shots in the build-up. But eventually, a demo's what was required, and that's what I like to see. They're forced to try and outplay Rounds if they want to earn themselves a goal. They didn't give it away for free. Don't give this one away for free now. And Shiro in the corner gets that 50. Have to be fast. Marzi is just quicker. Twinzer was already on the back foot looking back. Will respect that Rounds are going to bring this ball forward. Tweaks. Left to Twinzer on Onizuma. Oh my goodness, gets free ring, takes that off the back wall. That shot's not on target, just wide, but Renshiro still available, playing to the whistle. Didn't celebrate too early. And well, that's a lesson, but we've learned many a times here on the Round stream.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something, Rounds are actually struggling to get the boost steals that are necessary to keep Deathcloud in their half. You take the corner boosts every so often, but Deathcloud then just defend 2v3. They send one out to go and get the mid boost like Teshel has here. Oh my goodness, off the post. Onizuma has to get the block and does. And now it's down to Rounds to try and make this defensive play. That is a boom ball and a half from Marzi. And it's going to be returned to sender, but collected by Rounds. No catch as Teshao sends it away. Renshiro out of the corner. Twinza to bring it through. 30 seconds on the clock. There's only one back. It's on Azuma. Now he's got a 1v1 against Teshao. It might be enough. Tweaks is back in time. And we continue as the clock ticks down.
Golden goal. Onizuma has that space. 10 seconds left. When is it our turn for the final seconds? And these are the positions we don't like. Renshiro blasts forward. It's another save yet again, and Tweaks will just buy his time. We return to another OT position. This favoured Death Cloud in the previous. Should it favour rounds? This is elimination for the purple organisation. And of course, an advancement for rounds. Onizuma again has been gifted those chances, but the defense has stood stalwart. That is a genius play again coming from Teshao, but the second and third of rounds were just there for the triple padlock.
Yeah, they were. Teshao once again. He's looking to take this game by the scruff of the neck. He wants to go game 5, and I think he's got there. No. Onizuma at the very last moment of asking, able to make the block. Is there still a chance? Ball lifted high. Teshao to drop down. Game 5 is calling. And as soon as the ball was kicked off in overtime, Pegasus, it was all Death Cloud the entire time. Rounds didn't even have a sniff in those 39 seconds.
Unbelievable series of Rocket League we are witnessing right now. What a step up from Death Cloud. Teshao taking the top spot there in the points leaderboard, but for me that was Tweaks. Yeah. That was Tweaks with an insane individual performance. It is his speed to the ball. It is his confidence not only in himself, but his teammates as well. So many times in the defense, there are opportunities that are bouncing off that back wall, and many times we see all three players decide they're just going to line up on the goal line and leave that 6-yard space free. You do not get that with Tweaks. Tweaks knows that Teshao and Twinza have that covered, so he'll step up. He'll look for that early intercept. He'll look to prevent that shot in the first place, and should it go past him, he has faith in his teammates. But that's lower percentage. If he can interrupt first, now the attack switches run, and that is a dangerous counterattack. And there were so many positions where Tweaks did exactly that for Death Cloud, and that's not what the points are going to tell you.
No, sometimes you've got to trust the eye test. You've got to trust what your eyes tell you rather than what the points tell you. And that is, on that occasion, Tweaks absolutely tearing across rounds. But we now have a game 5. Death Cloud have gone the long way around to get there. But we are here. 2 overtimes in games 3 and 4. As we now get in to the final 5 minutes of this matchup. Of course, we could go to a 3rd OT in a row. Of course, it could be longer than that. But ideally, rounds would see it out in regulation. That is objective number 1.
And it's a game 5 requirement to get yourself into that lower finals. SSL and Unity Esports have now reached a similar point to Death Cloud versus Rounds. It's also a potential reverse sweep there. Of course, it would be for SSL if they could pull it off. It would be for Death Cloud and for the prospective top 8 teams that haven't made it before. They look to prevent the force of the players that have been here before. When Shiro takes it alone, it's just a quick ball on top of his car. I mean, that flick is just so clean. Great impacts in the early game.
Just a solo play from Renshiro, and sometimes he will just do that for your team. And actually, there's an opportunity here. Marzi and Onizuma trying to work it out between them. Who's got the best opportunity? In the end, they both try and take it, and, well, it doesn't go home. Death Cloud starting game number 5. A little bit concerned, a little bit scared, a little bit worried maybe. Tweaks, he's not going to be scared. He takes that one off the ceiling. Onizuma trying to find a way down the left side. Twinza bumped off the play, so Marzi looks for the pass across to his compatriot. Doesn't happen for him. Onizuma's covering behind Renshiro. He certainly should be. Now Marzi collects, plays to the safety of the corner once again. Can he win the 50? No. Tweaks. Again, that one's background coming in for the Namibian. Now Renshiro once again trying to beat everybody in front of him. Can't do so. Rounds still just about lead. Death Cloud building into game 5.
Marzi Tries to 50 this one into danger. Just meets Tesh out. But the ball stays central. Whoever can come on top in this midfield battle has quite the offense on their hands. It has ended up falling to Tweaks. He'll take forward progression. A full tank of boost to go all the way. Keeps it simple. You don't need all this fancy air roll. Just drag this ball to the back of the net, away from the danger of defenders. Not much criticism I can give there defensively, Rhino. That's a great play from Tweaks.
It's unfortunate from Marzi, really, but yeah, you're absolutely right. That is Tweaks at his brilliant best. Marzi, backboard. T-Shell not going to get there. That's off the top. Surely an opportunity on Azuma, converts. And just as quickly as Deathcloud had equalised, Rounds get right back into the play off the kickoff. And this finish from Onizuma couldn't be placed any better. Crossbar into the ground. 2-1.
And again, it's that French connection to ignite this game. There has been fireworks all round. Well, Onazuma's beaten to that 100 boost. Steele finds way to lay off to a teammate who's looking better suited. Like the idea of the air dribble bump, though the initial touch has to be on target. Too much power. Renshiro sees Onizuma climbing up that wall. That follow-up touch wasn't quite calculated, but still falls well. His positioning lowering the chances. Where has that come from?
I'm going to tell you where it's come from, Pig. All right, I'm going to tell you where it's come from. The pass back from Tweets
Tell me.
to Twinzer. The ball just found itself right in that bottom corner where the ball meets the ground. And T-Shao, I think it was actually, my apologies, was struggling to read where that ball was going to end up. He doesn't get the all-important touch, which sends the Deathcloud team into a spiral of, well, where is this ball going to go now? They send two backwards, but Renshiro's too quick. He gets in the way. He gets in front. He has the speed. And Rounds suddenly turn a 1-1 game into a 3-1 game in their favor. It may drop back now. That one's off the crossbar. Bit lucky from Rounds' persuasion. You don't care how it happens, as long as it does, but Tweaks will send us back in an unlucky fashion into the bottom left corner. Marzi trying to bring this away. Twinzer finds the gap. Renshiro bumped away at the back lines. And Deathcloud back within one.
And this is a battle to try and dislodge the status quo. Rounds versus Deathcloud, Unity versus SSL happening at the exact same time. Onizuma down to Renshiro. Renshiro gets that clearance forward. Twinzer big twist one towards his own corner to a teammate as well. Tweaks, but that clearance is not great. Just falls straight to Marzi. He's better at offloading that one to a teammate, but Dish almost getting the job done. Marzi, though, beaten by Tasho again. Ball remaining in this corner for quite some time now. Renshiro looked to change that, but the defense played it simple. Bring it to safety. And now when Tashao has control and Tweaks is already prepared now, you can start to feel it build up. Unity have just scored with 12 seconds left to make it equal. And these should be the two games that you're watching very, very closely. And then we don't want to see an equalizer on our screens as well. Twinzer will take it alone. And Rhino will take this away.
Yeah, I will. 1 minute and 20 to go. And I tell you what, the other game that you won't be watching right now because it has officially finished is Strive Esports 3-1 victors against Synthesis. Synthesis out in top 16 in Open 3. They will not be happy with that one bit. Marzi passing downfield. Renshiro not going to get there first. And now it's sound the alarms time. Onizuma into the corner. Tweaks trying to bring it through once again. The 1v1 Magician trying to unlock the Rounds defense. Can't do so. T-Shell given the freedom to move forwards. Finds Tweaks on the left side. It's a nice pass, but Onizuma gets there first. Can he chase that ball down? No, there wasn't a third man. And the pass is too strong as well. Marzi gets in front. 36 seconds. Deathcloud, they've already pulled themselves back from the brink once this series. Can they do it again? Ball across, a little bit heavy. T-Shell won't get the 100 boost. Ball into the middle, not going to happen. Tweaks with the shot. Is there anyone back there? Is not. And I asked if they could. It turns out they can.
Another equalizer at this stage of the GSL. What a day this has been for the Sub-Saharan Africa region. A crazy day of action. But that does not end yet. Mardu with the bump on Azuma, looking for the 2v2, but Twinzer gets that save. Renshiro off that sidewall. Tweaks is already up. Gets that first touch. The second one is fearful. Looks to carry it all the way, but Marzi will stop. Renshiro booms it forward. Onizuma steps high, but he's got nothing in the tank. But Twins is giving it away to Renshiro. That back wall could have been free, but Teshao makes sure to carry his read. And they're looking for that 0-second goal. That can be attributed either way. Deathcloud hit ground, and it's OT in both of those prospective lower final matchups.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 OTs so far this game. Both have gone the way of Deathcloud. Would be poetic to get this one the other way. Renshiro backboard cleared away by Twinza. Boost in the tanks of round. That's a rule 1. Tweaks will break it.
Business.
And will the Rocket League gods look harshly upon the rule 1 break. They might just. Marzi has a chance. Sent away by Tweaks. Ball over on that right-hand side. Tweaks gets the clearance away. T-Shell tries to get in front of Renshiro, but he wins the 50. Getting beyond his first man. Twinza plays it middle. There is a player waiting. Marzi backboard on Izuma. Oh my goodness, it's off the line from T-Shell. He's made some ridiculous saves. That one, even more ridiculous.
Dance for your lives. This isn't RuPaul. This is SSA, ladies and gentlemen. Goal 7 will be heaven. Will it be Marzi's not quite touching down with Paradise? It's all Tweaks. Looking for the 1v2 is completely bumped off. Renshiro keeps it down in the corner. Onizuma's passed out. Doesn't find a teammate. It's just a car of purple. Twinza does get the infield catch. Renshiro keeps his ball flowing forward. Twinza doesn't land that redirect. That could have been the difference. That's a double commit as well in the corner. Those small moments you look towards, but that's a step up too high from Deathcloud. Twinza just about times his turn. And it's official. Unity Esports make their first top 8, their first top 6 in the upper bracket. Winner of this matchup will be playing SSL. And if the status quo is to be fully shaken up, rounds have to grab this next goal.
Yeah, they do, but Tweaks drops this one down. There's a demo on the back line. There's 2 rounds now only with 1 player. It's Renshiro, though. He tries to just slow Deathcloud down. Does a good job of that. T-Shell tries to take it through. Doesn't have possession. Marzi, reset. Drops it down for his captain. Twinza stops that play in its tracks. That's a great shot. Tweaks somehow gets a play on it. A demo on the back lines. Marzi off the backboard. Top corner. But it bounces away. And now Rounds forced to go back towards their own half. The clearance, though, from Deathcloud tells you exactly where their thoughts are. They were nervous about the attack from Rounds. And they should be. Clearance away to Onizuma down that right-hand side. Picked up by T-Shell. Good control. Onizuma gets in the way once again. Marzi now next up on that right side. Can he find a 50? No. Tweaks brings it around. Renshiro, you're next up to bat. And he wins the 50. Of course he does. Such an important one to do. Twinza into the middle. Tackled. Sent packing. Over 2.5 minutes played in this OT. Game 5. And goodness gracious, this would be a heartbreaking way for either team's open to end. And it will continue with a save from Onizuma.
And one mistake puts your season on pause for months. Tweaks takes it over. The double reaches. And the Namibian advances. And the reverse sweep is completed. Deathcloud, rage on.
The reverse sweep is complete. The storyline comes through. And for all of the pressure, for all of the ability that Round showed here today, the one factor, the biggest difference between these two teams is simply the level of ice in the veins. Rounds were 2-1 up in Game 3 with 2 seconds to go. And it could have ended there. But Deathcloud wouldn't die. They would not be put down. And Rounds did not have enough to kill the Tempest. Pegasus.
Heartbreaker.
Goodness me.
Complete heartbreaker. But there is one kid on this pitch who deserved that victory more than anyone else. Tweaks, take a bow, son.
Yeah.
And what a way to end it. You want to talk about confidence. You want to talk about ice. That final shot, ceiling double tap. goes straight for it. You don't see a single bit of hesitation once he goes for that. We also saw a double flip reset attempt from Teshao. They were confident to send themselves forward. All of those players on Death Cloud wanted to be the hero. They wanted to take that initiative to change the direction of this game and ultimately complete that reverse sweep at a position that looked completely undefendable for them.
Yeah.
But fair play to Rounds as well. They kept that strength throughout the entire time. It wasn't one of those reverse sweeps, Rhino, where game 3 goes wrong, game 4 goes worse, and game 5 is disastrous. How many times do we see that in Rocket League? It was a fight to the very bitter end. And my goodness, how bitter was that?
Oh, yeah. That's a tough one to take, and we can look at the bracket, and you can see there, Unity. Listen, that is the shining light of today. Unity going through into top 6. Congratulations to everybody involved in the org. Players, they deserve it. They've worked hard to get there. And the other surprise of the day, Synthesis, dropping down in top 16. We said that anyone in this GSL bracket could be anybody else.
Oh, wow.
And that's exactly what came to pass. Drive Esports versus LFO. Deathcloud versus SSLs for the final 2 spots in this bracket to go through. And, you know, it's sometimes we end a GSL stream when the team has come top 16 and the team has been played off the park. And the team has not really looked up to it. And you just start to wonder, you know, what went wrong on the day? Why didn't we look as good as we did in Swiss, for example, or any of those questions? We're not asking those questions about Rounds today. We are not. Rounds played significantly better today than they did in the Swiss stage, and the players will know that. The coaches will know that. They just need that experience. They need to be able to calm themselves down, to ice themselves in those all-important moments of games. And that's the difference. And that is the only difference. That is keeping Rounds from a spot in top 12 and beyond. And that is just going to come with time. There's no other solution for it, really.
I can think of one.
Okay.
I can think of one.
All right.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to use this opportunity to announce a potential project heading into Split 2 for the Rounds organisation. Many times we've spoken about this being a 2/3 roster of Onizuma and Marzi, of course paired alongside Renshiro being our import player who has spent a majority of this open from a range of 180 all the way to 220 ping consistently. That's a disadvantage in a competitive environment where the finest margins make all the difference. So what if that margin did not exist whatsoever? Conversations are forming in the background of the Rounds organisation to move Renshiro to Cape Town, thus immediately dropping his ping come Split 2 and a much more competitive, well-rounded Rounds side. Rhino, doesn't that sound wonderful?
It certainly does. It certainly sounds like a conversation that would not have been had if we hadn't seen the potential of this Rounds roster. But I think it's fair to say that everyone who's seen these streams, whatever persuasion you happen to be, has seen exactly what Rounds are capable of, what each of these 3 individual players can do in the SSA region. So now, potentially moving into Split 2, no more excuses. No more Renshiro was playing on 180 ping. No more can Rounds say that they are hindered by the connection, by the distance. Maybe. If this happens, if this happens, Rounds will be, and I'm not saying should be, I'm not saying could be, I am saying will be top 8 contenders in every single open of Split 2. I defy you to challenge me.
I see it, Rhino. I really do. And of course, Rounds deserve a very special mention for this. Of course, they are a special organization, but it's more than just a badge. It's more than just a logo they fight for. It is a vast, vast team of people with real investment going into this organization and real belief in esports that they would even consider financing this project for Renshiro and for Rounds in the first place. This is a team that cares about competition. This is a team that cares to hire a broadcast team. Like, I'm very happy to disclose we are hired for this job, and we thank Rounds very much that that is the case in, let's just say, this current esports economy. So of course this does end on the negative bombshell of a reverse sweep against DeathCloud, but doesn't it all look like there's going to be some greener pastures heading into Split 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it was an absolute pleasure. Myself, Sir Pegasus, alongside Rhino, Quanzek, and of course producer Hazza, to give you the first official RDR Prod production. We hope to see you in Split 2 for a round side that, mark our words, will be a consistent top 8 roster. Finland and of course Reunion, stand up! We will see you in Split 2!
What if I told you, from now on, the only thing you need for gaming is this desk? Uneven Base is a complete esports setup. It includes a powerful computer, keyboard, mouse, and monitor, all in one lightweight build. Uneven Base is foldable, portable, and easy to set up. Perfect gaming experience wherever you want. And of course, yeah, there's RGB. Uneven Base. Now it's about you.
Siis mikä voi olla niin tärkeää, että äijä enää 2 viikkoon? Äijä on tullut takaisin. No niin, let's go. Pitkästä aikaa pelikenttä.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
Tervetuloa Prozoneen.
I dream just to be where you are, in a world I can see where you are, though you are meant to be. Wish you're here next to me, where you